We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
You're listening to Founder Stories with Anouk and Barak. Brought to you by F2 Capital in partnership with IDC International Radio and No Camels.
So with the audacity of someone who knew nothing, I went to study in Paris. And when I came back to Israel, although there were no camels, I couldn't get a job.
Hi, and welcome to Founder Stories. Today on the show, Dorin Frankfurt, the grande dame of Israeli fashion, talks about bucking the trends, her deliberate mixing of fashion and politics, and handing off the torch of her homegrown business to the next generation. Dorin, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with Barak and I today. You're here in Herzliya, dressed all in black, long sleeves, pants, shoes, and it's a boiling hot day. Does that ever impact your style? And how far back does your sense of style go?
I have no idea when sense of style began. I suppose it began out of necessity.
Did you wear black to kindergarten?
I don't think so. I mean, then it was the choice of my parents. The dress I'm wearing is very loose and it is cotton and is made for hot weather. And I don't believe that if you're totally exposed, you're less warm. Actually, if you look at Bedouins, they are very adapted to the weather. I'm never hot, ever. But listen, I was born here, and I think that my body temperature is in equilibrium.
It has adapted, yes.
Yes, I really believe it. As a homely child, and then as not a very pretty adolescent, I think that's when I developed my sense of style. Because it was like either be interesting or homely. The choice was there. And I made the choice.
What a word for a fashion designer, homely. It's definitely not what you would want to project. You're always wearing red lipstick. When did that start?
Well, that started also in high school when I realized that it's also the dark glasses. The dark glasses I've had since I was 10 years old. It was not a choice. It was a problem that I had to cross, and I decided, okay, if I have a flaw, I'm going to go for it. And the lipstick came because everyone was so suntanned and blonde and healthy, and I'm allergic to the sun. So that's it. It was a choice.
Yeah, and lucky you. Now I'm sure that your colleagues who were in class with you probably have less beautiful silky smooth skin than you do.
No, when I look at it, it never looks silky to me, but thank you for the compliment. But that is like everything else, it's like, I don't know, it's like preserving earth. Now it's trendy. When my children were young, I was really the mother that was an embarrassment. Don't use silver foil, don't use plastic. Now I'm like, wow.
The world caught up with you.
Which means that even a clock that is, broken is correct twice a day. I don't know, yes, but actually, yes, the whole system of creating a little factory was based on that.
So take us from that little factory to Dorin Frankfurt today.
It was not a smooth way. Please remember that I went from high school to the army. From the army, I wanted to study fashion. I actually wanted to be a graphic designer, but discovered and went to study graphic design and realized that I was very mediocre. But I loved making clothes. So with the audacity of someone who knew nothing, I went to study in Paris. And when I came back to Israel, although there were no camels, I couldn't get a job. So basically, in order to become a fashion designer, I couldn't get a job as an assistant because Israel was actually run by families that had factories like Gotek, Saled, Begedor, and the designers grew from the family. Well, my family was not exactly industrious in that way, although everybody worked very hard. And so I was the photographer's assistant. I began as a photographer's assistant, Ben Lam, and I made clothes at home, as you said, and sold them in a tiny little, I wouldn't even call it a shop, it was a booth that I was given in Kolbo Shalom. And that is the generosity of the Meyer family that they gave me that booth, and that's how it began. Actually, it took me 8 years to have a direction after my studies. I really needed that time in order to crystallize in my mind what kind of a designer I want to be.
In 2001, you started sewing piece labels into your garment, and you kept telling people that no progress could be made without talking to the other side. And at the time, you were frequently visiting the Erez checkpoint. However, at the time, Israel was under constant attack from Palestinian terrorists, and many people did not like what you were doing. Did you ever consider that it would impact your label? And what do you think about mixing politics with fashion?
First of all, I think fashion is politics. I think that living in Israel and being detached from what's happening is, I don't know how to say it in kinder words, it's just not very intelligent because we are political. And yes, I knew that it would be a problem, but then again, you know, when Israel was at her 50th birthday, I did a dress for Jerusalem that incorporated 3 religions and preached for a no zone, you know. So yes, perhaps it was not popular, but I don't believe that a creator can always be middle of the road and say pleasing words. I don't think that I said pleasing words through my career, and I don't expect everyone to love and respect what I do. And that is, you know, from the starting point. So I did not have that vision of becoming an amazing conglomerate with thousands of workers. I'm really, really pleased that we can support the people that work with us. But the whole agenda from the beginning was to design locally, designer clothes in limited edition and affordable luxury. I admit that there were years that it was really not financially very helpful to have such strong opinions.
Would you recommend to your daughter, who is a fashion designer and also works with you, to be so bold?
I would recommend it to any young creator to have a clear vision of the way, and that takes time.
You said once a country cannot exist without art, design, and manual labor, and you are one of the last manufacturers still doing everything in Israel and not China. Tell us why. Does that come with a price, or does it come with clear advantages?
Manufacturing in Israel comes with a price and comes with amazing clear advantages. Now, the question is how rich you want to be, or how much money does a person need to be happy?
What do you think? How much money does a person need to be happy?
I think that your day-to-day is as much money as you need to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And if I look at the company we created, where all the managers have grown from the company, with our help, of course, you know, they all went to more schooling. For me, it's perhaps the biggest achievement as a designer. I mean, if you come into our factory, all managers in all units were kids when they began, and now some of them have 4 kids, a semi-detached and 2 cars. You know, that's an achievement for me. Now, Could we have made more money? Yes. And any financial advisor that looked into our company told us it's lunacy. And Israel, unfortunately, lives in the past, because this is where it's going in the future. And if you look at solvent countries where their, economics are strong, they're all creating workplaces, and they're all geared to small and medium manufacturing. And the way we work, it's all in-house. From the advertisement to our website to photo shoots, styling, it's all done in-house. Now, I believe that, yes, this is the newest way to be thin in way of not spending. So we do not have enormous stocks. Yes, we have, of course, a very big warehouse for the fabrics. But on the other side, we have just as big yoga room for the workers.
How do you divide responsibilities with your partner, Margit Segal?
We were very exact from the beginning, and we sit back to back at the factory. One side is hers. We strengthen each other. There is a wall, but I feel her back. I do all the fun things, and she does all the hard things. That's actually, I design all the clothes. Being a sole designer, 4 collections every season is madness, I know. The vision of the next collection, colors, subjects, clothes, production, until the buttons and zippers are done at the studio, photo shoots, advertisements, online shop, the vision of the shops, styling, is all done at my studio, at my side. Margit, on the other hand, has all the difficult things, which means import, export, management of all the staff. And I don't have to tell you that bureaucracy is incredible, all the costing, and all the big financial decisions we make together, all the big decisions of colors, fabrics, we do it together. We try to connect at least once a week. Everything is coordinated, and amazingly enough, it's been working for 35 years. It is really quite a miracle, because we're good friends, and we know how to fight too, which is important in friendship.
Tell us about your family. Is there anyone specifically who inspired you?
My father, who actually escaped Austria at the age of 16 and honestly invented himself, who is amazing, who's today at 97, the most positive person you'd ever meet. My mother, who came from a very interesting family, she was called Beit Eli because my grandfather, who was the rabbi, his brother was the chief rabbi of Israel. They were all rabbis, all brothers. And my grandfather decided that no, he does not want to be religious anymore. And they lived door to door, the chief rabbi of Israel and his brother, who did not even wear a kippah. And they respected each other. They were so close. And my grandfather went with his brother to synagogue on holidays, but they both knew each other's thoughts and beliefs. And that is the family I grew up into. And I think that it has formed my whole view of how Israel should be, yes.
Does religion play any role in your life?
It plays a role in my life in the way that I respect others. And I think that's the major role a religion should play. Spiritually, yes, I suppose it does, as part of my family is still religious. My grandmother was one of the founders of Vizo and always worked with community. My mother, who grew up into that family with both parents, my grandfather wrote for Haaretz about Olim and their hardships. And my mother was one of the founders of Elem. So,
which is an organization for youth in distress.
Yes, yes. So basically, I was born into a family that everyone believed in community and working for the community. So I don't think that the way I formed my life later was that distant. Even as a founder of something that, we have 15 stores, it's not that simple. There are many tens, if not hundreds of families under our responsibility, but I think that it's just developing an idea that I was brought up into.
You built your business right alongside the technology revolution. Did you resist it? Did you embrace the internet? Maybe both?
I believe that is a major part of survival is innovation. And advancement without innovation, no, I don't think it can work. It never could work. And it's either you adapt and embrace the future. I'm not talking about adapting the present. It's like, it's either I adapt to what's going to be, or I should move and, I don't know.
What does Israel represent for you? Did you ever think of living elsewhere or spending the last few decades of your life outside of Israel?
In that way, I think I'm really old school. For me, I can only think of Israel as my home, as my only home. I've lived in Paris, I've lived in London off and on. I was alternating 1 month in London, 1 month in Tel Aviv. So I really had my time to decide for 11 years. I believe it should be. And what we do with this, having to be, is really up to the young generation. I'm doing my utmost. But if it won't be followed through, well, we're screwed.
You have twin daughters.
Kamea and Kian.
Not typical Israeli names. Where did you come up with that?
Kamea is Mazal, it's Talisma. It should be a very typical name.
Okay.
But is it? I never heard it.
No, but then Dorin, when I was born in 1951, was really, oh my God, what is that name? And my brother, who's over 50, well over 50, is Liam. So, and my other sister is Alma. And another one is Anna. So actually the names became
leading
common,
Israel. Yes.
but Alma and Liam...
Nobody had heard of.
Yes, nobody heard of. So I learned from my parents that interesting names actually are difficult at the beginning, but they give you a push. Anouk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right. I called my daughter Naya in the first year. Nobody knew what that was, and I started hearing Nayas are being born and named. It works very fast in such a small country where everybody knows each other.
Exactly, but Kian is actually yes, you're right. It is an international name.
What does it mean?
In what language?
In any language.
In your language.
In Arabic, actually, Kian is entity. If you want, in my language, she's red hot, and it can be chili.
Yes,
and
she has fiery red hair.
Is the color, and Kian is actually a Welsh name. So
interesting, because she could look Welsh.
Her father is Welsh.
Oh, I see. Okay, you had them when you were 39.
Almost 40.
Almost 40.
Thank you for the kindness. Yes.
Why did you wait until then?
I don't know. It's not. First of all, it was 28 years ago, so you can make the math. I was 39 and I was ready. And it's a miracle that it happened so fast. My financial stability was established. My dreams were, not realized, but it was everything that happened to me until then was way above anything I dreamt of. And I don't know, it was, as you say.
Did you ever think of having more children?
You noticed the age I had children. And I was a working mother. And I was with twins. And as people around me would tell you, I was not exactly a working mother at work with help. I was doing both. So actually, raised twins and worked at night. I can think of easier projects.
You didn't have nannies and...
No, we didn't have a full-time nanny, which, yes, I know. And they only went to kindergarten when they could speak. I came into motherhood late, and compared to my work, it was not that difficult as everyone predicted it would be for me. I actually enjoyed it, and I'm still enjoying it.
If you could go and give yourself, your younger self, piece of advice, what would it be?
Wow, that is difficult. One advice? I can't think of one. I think of millions of advices, but...
Well, if I could ask it in a different way, maybe what was your regret or mistake?
Oh, I made hundreds of mistakes. It's not as if I made one mistake. Even at my work, I made a collection that I called austerity, Tzena. I thought people would actually buy clothes that are meant to be a political statement with statements on it. My God, all my friends wore it as pajamas because I didn't know what to do with it. And Margie told me, what are we going to do? In red and white? Really? What was I on? So yes, I made many mistakes. You really don't want to count my mistakes. That's it. Life is made of mistakes and advancement. I made thousands of mistakes.
Would you do anything differently, or you look back and you think that was the exact path I was meant to be on? Do you think things happen the way they should?
You can always do things differently. I look at myself as a young person. My vision was not that developed. If I think of myself now as a grown-up, yes, I could have gone into many other areas that I did not cover because I had a factory and because it was only us that produced everything. But I believe in creation and I believe in design, and not only in fashion design. And I could have done more, much more. But I don't think that's important. What I've done is, wow, it's enough. And I concentrate on thinking of the future, of projects that interest me for the future. And I don't dwell on the past at all. It's not in my nature.
Which Israeli designers do you admire today? Which young Israeli designers?
I think that there are so many talented people. And they're amazing schools, but the schools do not school the young people how to deal with a government that is totally disinterested in everything that's involving art and creation. It's really flabbergasting. I don't know how to say it. So we educate those young, amazingly talented people, and then what? They go work at H&M in Sweden or in China. I think it's horrific. And an important part of schooling is also creating workplaces. And the dissonance is frightening.
Did you or do you ever compare yourself to international fashion designers?
You can't compare a small little country in the neck of the woods to countries with endless possibilities. You just can't do it. I saw Dries Van Noten in his first show.
Dries Van Noten, a famous Belgian designer.
So, I saw those Antwerp group, and I was so envious. But who was I going to group with? So you can envy, you can respect, but hey, every country has its fortes and its flaws.
Looking at Israel today, can you say you're proud of Israel?
Wow. Can you ask me a less difficult question? Am I proud of Israel?
Are you still proud of being Israeli, of the country that you grew up in?
I fear is being afraid for an idea for young people that I believe can change the world. Is fear connected to pride? Wow, no. I think that even to be strong, you need to be intelligent. And I will always be an Israeli. But do I agree with the way? Please, you really don't want to get into politics with me. You are very brave to make Aliyah. Do I think that one should come and live here? The answer is yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dorin.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
I think we need a part 2.
Founder Stories is brought to you by F2 Capital in partnership with IDC International Radio and No Camels. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app.